Solo.
What's the word?
Black lip plaster. Hey, it's good to see you, bro.
Church all the time, man.
Flush. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
All right. Look, before we get started, and we dive right into this. I know I kind of explained to you what I'm doing, but I'm basically trying to get a homies they flowers. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of classic shit that came out in the city, and I feel like not a lot of people are doing a good job at documenting our side of the map. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like Elliot Wilson and like all these other people, they do a good job of documenting what they got going on over there on their side of the world, but it's nobody really documenting our shit. So me and the homies took it upon ourselves. We do it ourselves. You know how we get down.
Correct.
So, matter of fact, let me type this in the box. I'm doing this shit, Coast Classics. Hold on. And you are one of the few people I feel like.
Can you see me good? I don't know. This is my first time doing this, I think.
Yeah, I can see you. Can you see me?
Yeah, you can hear me cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coast Classics with Solo. Hold on. All right, so basically that's what I'm on right now. I'm just trying to like document our history. And you are one of the few people out of the city who I feel like got a classic project, bro. Long Term 2. I mean, we've always talked about Long Term 2 being a standout project, but it's on my list of classic projects that we lived our life to at one point.
Word, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. I want to dive right in because right when you put out Long Term 2, now Long Term 2 is do you consider that to be a mixtape?
Yeah, it's a mixtape for sure. That's my second tape for sure.
All right, so look, let me show you something that I dug up from the archives. This is from 2010. This is 10 years ago.
Okay.
10 years ago. Peep this shit right here.
Keep it going, you know what I'm saying? Right. I think it'll be a cool thing. I mean, that's a cool concept. You know, it takes relative. You know, you would want it to take a while so you can, see things. So when it pops off, you have a journey behind you. You got a story to tell. Right. If it just pops off, if it's short term, you know what I mean? No, I got you. It'll probably be a quick end. Like I wouldn't call it a mixtape. Right. That's the real project, like, you know what I mean? Like,
so what you just said 10 years ago contradicts what you just said right now.
Yeah,
you said, I would not call it a mixtape.
Yeah, but you know what I was trying to sell it then. I was trying to sell it. I had to sell it right there. But I mean, technically it is a tape. You did what I'm saying? It was like on Dat Piff or something like that.
It's still on there. I figured I just looked today. So this is two things I want to note, right?
Yeah.
Look at your hair and then look at mine. We got the same hairdos right now.
Okay. Yeah,
low key. You know what I'm saying? 10 years later, we got the same hairdo. So not a lot has changed, but I feel like when you put this project out, I feel like shit kind of changed for you. And I know me and you have discussed this before, like amongst ourselves, but what do you think the biggest difference was when Long Term 2 came out?
What you mean the biggest difference?
As far as people treating you different? Because I noticed in a couple of songs you mentioned it, like on the first Long Term you put out, you had Glasses on there, you had a couple of people on there, and then Royce, what up? And then when you put out Long Term 2, you was mentioning like, oh, I got a song with Glasses. I'm in the J-Rock video. People treating me different.
Right.
What was the biggest thing that you noticed as far as like from your POV when you put this project out?
I mean, I think it was an eye opener for sure. Like you said, it was like that was the first tape where like they started posting us on the blogs.
Yeah.
That's what we was trying to do around that time. We was just trying to get posted on the blogs. That was
trying to get them blog posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all was the first crew really to be, and I ain't never really said this publicly, but y'all was the first crew to really get on the internet wave out here in LA on some real shit.
No, word. So how important it was early.
Because I noticed that a lot of the homies like that we came up with was stuck on the own mentality of we need to be in the streets, we need to have physicals and all that stuff. Yeah. Was it your intent to take over the internet the way you end up doing?
Yeah, we knew how important it was at that time. Like we knew, like, you know, as a team, you know, we had people working the internet side of things the whole time. Like, you know, we had people who knew how important it was going to be to make a presence there.
Yeah.
The business was changing. You know, I grew up in the record shop. I seen seen how everything stopped selling and it was moving online. So it was kind of obvious at the time to work the internet.
Work the internet for sure. And then
it was just an obvious thing, you know what I'm saying?
So I want to talk about the record shop too, because to me that's like a big part of our history, especially in Carson. Like the record shop, I mean, for people that don't know, you know, shout out to Magic Disc, but that was a big part of like our culture and coming up and being a hip hop nigga in the city and shit like that. And you was working there. And so you got to have a firsthand experience with a lot of different type of music. And I think that kind of like opened your mind up a little bit, because Long Term 1 was good, but then when Long Term 2 came out, I noticed the expansion of the production.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? It was always in house.
This was quite a time ago too. You got to keep in mind. It was like, this was a while ago.
This was 10 years ago, bro.
10 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But it was always in house. Soundwave. Who else is on this motherfucker? Willie B, Tay Beast. Like, it was a bunch of people on this project where it was in house, right? My favorite, obviously, my two favorites is Soul Cry. My other favorite, actually, no, that's a lie. My favorite off of this motherfucker would be, I got three. It's Long Term 2, self-titled, right? Soul Cry, and then Mayday. Mayday was, you was barring up.
Yeah. Mayday was crazy.
Mayday was crazy.
This the one with Turn Me Up on it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Turn Me Up was crazy.
Which one do you think is your favorite off of here? You got Still a Regular Nigga, you got No Pressure, Drift Away, Living Light, House Party 5.
I want to say Turn Me Up, I think. Yeah, Turn Me Up something was crazy.
Turn Me Up?
Yeah.
That was the one with K-Dot was on it. Now, let me ask you this, because I just recently gave Reason a lot of shit for Flick It Up, because I felt like you ate him up on that shit, right? And, you know, I told him, we had that conversation, but when you had Kendrick on Turn Me Up. Now
he went to work.
Huh?
He went to work on that too.
He went to work on it. Did you record your verse first, or did he record, or do you remember? Do you remember who recorded
I did everything first. I just needed his verse.
You just needed his verse. After you heard his verse on Turn Me Up, were you like, were you worried at all?
Nah, I know what that gonna do.
You wasn't tripping.
No, I needed him. I needed him to go crazy.
Yeah.
We'll collaborate to have the best verse. Collaborate to make this shit slap, make it work. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the whole song was finished.
The homies gonna come. Any of the homies, you get a free verse to any one of the homies. I mean, come on, man. You know
an open verse, you already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you know what they came to do.
Another song that I really wanted to talk about too is Passion. Shout out to Lori. I felt like that was a more of a personal song. Do you remember that song?
Vaguely, but yeah. I mean, the whole project was personal.
It was very personal, but I'm just saying, as far as like when I'm listening to the words and shit like that, when I'm listening to the words, difference, because I went back and listened to the whole thing, bro.
Yeah.
And so it's fresh in my mind. It took me back to when we was in Chuck's room talking about it when you was just trying to sell it the first time.
Right.
Homegrown, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that was just about having passion. That song was just about having the passion to, you know, to do this, to be an artist, you know.
Pass the Blunt with Schoolboy Q. Okay.
That's the get high.
Bro. Y'all chemistry on records, I feel like it's unmatched right now within the crew. The way y'all go back and forth, even with Druggies with Hoes, like the way y'all chemistry is on records, I feel like because both of y'all kind of like weed heads, and it's like it's a thing. I think that's a real thing.
I mean, we work together very close. So I mean, I think in that type of environment, you know, everybody gonna pick up something. You know, pick up the vibe. I feel like, you know,
pick up the vibe from the.
It's really family.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you remember smoking in the studio? In the back house?
Yeah, in the back. Well, we couldn't smoke back there.
I know, but I think I remember during the recording of this project one time, I think somebody lit up, and I don't remember who it was.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. No comment.
He said no comment.
About that.
Okay, is it something that you have to do when you recording? I mean, not even just back then, but now do you have to smoke before? You have to smoke during the process? Like, how does that work?
I ain't got to do nothing to do nothing. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, you know, you definitely, it's whatever the vibe is, man. You know, I smoke a lot, so I'm usually going to end up smoking before and after, during, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then something else that I've never said publicly, I'm going to say this for the record. I feel like you are the original Black hippie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like that whole swag, that whole shit comes from Solo, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Q came up with the name too. We was talking about it. I'm pretty
sure. Q came up with the name Black Hippie?
Q did.
Q did?
I think so, yeah.
Damn.
I'm mistaken.
But I feel like when I think of Black Hippie, I think of you. I think of Q too, but I think you are what I look at as that.
I'm the mascot.
The mascot, bro. You the mascot, dog. All right. This is something I really wanted to talk about right here. One of my favorite songs off of this project is self-titled. It's called Long Term 2. This is something I want you to talk about, and in whatever way you want to talk about it. On the last verse, I'm gonna recite this to you. All right. All right. 2000 I was cool. 01 I had fun. 02 I recorded my first song and I was sprung. 03 I was deep. 04 I had flow. 05 I signed the street beat with no dough. 06 I met Punchline. Damn, I think Punchline. He saw more of my music and metaphors and punchlines. 07 Dude Dog told me I was family. In 08 you became a fan of me. 09 I went around the country in the rock band. Now it's 2010, y'all. Get a CAT scan, dog. Bro, to me, and this is the genius I feel like of who you are. That summed up. That gave me a whole Carfax of Solo in like 8 bars. But anyway, I just want you to break down that timeline, like as far as like leading up.
I used it originally on the first tape. So on the second one, I just added to it whatever the years were missing.
That's what I'm saying. It progressed, and you were telling your story.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that was for me to remember, you know, the times.
So like a journal or something.
Like a legit time capsule, so we could, you know, remember. So if I ever keep it going, I got to keep the timeline going, you know.
Yeah. You said in 06 you met Punch. So Punch was the one who brought you in?
Well, Soundwave introduced me to Punch.
Soundwave introduced you to Punch, and then Punch brought you in.
Yeah.
Got you. And then when do you remember at that time, like,
he told me to come back.
Huh?
He told me to come back. You get what I'm
Oh,
saying?
he said come back.
He the one that said, yeah, come through and, you know, let me see what you can do, you know. I had to go.
We're gonna see what you can see if you can rap, and then
we're gonna see what you can do.
See what you can do on a record. Yeah. Speaking of Punch, he just played me his project. Okay, that shit hard. I just want to say that for the record. But Punch is on. Can anybody hear me? On Long Term too, and I just thought that was interesting.
All of my projects.
Huh?
Punch is on all of my projects.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, he's on every one.
Punch is on every project. Now, is that something that you consciously like? I need one for Punch.
Yeah, he usually sums up everything I'm trying to get off.
That's dope. What's crazy to me is not only that people don't really know that Punch can really get off like how he can get off. This is 10 years, and everybody's still waiting on that project from him. This is 10 years he's been doing this shit, and it's still. And I was listening to his verse, trying to find a flaw in it so I could tease him about it, and I can't find one.
Right. Yeah, he's Zordon for sure.
He said he's Zordon. Okay. Now, Soul Cry. To me, this song was, this is a fan favorite, obviously. I'm sure you know that, but Soul Cry is like special to me for very vain reasons. You know what I'm saying? Soul Cry is one of them songs where it's special to me in a different way, simply for the fact that I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when you called me to come to the studio, and you was like, "Yo, pull up. I want you to do something on my project." And I was like, "All right, what we gonna talk about?" You like, "Nigga, I don't know. We just gonna talk how we normally talk, right?" So then we talked shit about some ratchets or some shit, and then we was like flush, and then at the tail end of that, I'm gonna play it right now, but for the people that's watching, but at the tail end of that, you said something that's just always to me was very like it's always crazy to me. It's be like, "Yo, I've been checking you out on the DJ shit." Years later, I realized I had just started DJing when we recorded this shit.
Yeah, sure. That's why.
That's why it's special to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really. I felt like you was already established as like people know Soul can rap. I wasn't really established as a DJ. I was just head. I'm the homie from Carson. Like I wasn't DJ head. Right. So that's why this shit is special to me. I'm gonna play this shit real quick, and then you can tell me your thoughts on it.
All right.
Yo, hey, what's up, nigga?
What's up, Soul?
Man, what's up, man? Shit, man, what's going on?
Man, you know, kissing these ratchets in the mouth.
Oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Same shit, different toilet. Flush.
Yeah. Hey, for real though.
So right there, as it fades out, you like, yeah, I've been checking you out on the DJ shit. And to me, that's just so special to me, dog, because I had literally just become like, I was trying to be a DJ, and I wasn't really. And so for you to say that to me, I never told you this, but for you to say that to me, that shit meant a lot to me.
Right.
But do you want to speak on this song at all? Like, as far as, because this is a fan favorite. This is not one of them songs that you could just brush over. Like, this is one of them ones everybody been hitting me all day. Like, you got to ask them about Soul Cry, whether it's the sentiment in the song, what it mean to you. Do you give a fuck about it at this point?
No, of course. I mean, it's mine. I put it out. No, I'm saying, like, I just think that's where I was at that time. That's how I was feeling at that time,
I have a photo of us, ironically, where you standing there and I'm standing there. And I think this is like right around this same time. And I got on a West Coast t-shirt. And ironically, the WC, the hands that's on the shirt is Red One's hands. Mm. Like they made a silhouette of Red One's hands and put his shit on the shirt. Mm. I don't know what I did with that photo, but it was around the same time. When you dropped Long Term 2, did you already have in mind that you was going to drop Long Term Mentality?
No, I didn't want to call it that, but since it was my first, that was the first one I sold like digitally.
The first actual
That's the first
album
one
for
that we
sale.
iTunes. Yeah, that's the first
Gotcha.
time we tried to actually sell online, and so it was just made a lot of sense to use that brand.
It was already branded at that point.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like the right title for that.
When we did the when you did the Long Term 2 album, the release party at the shop, and that was literally like one of the, I think that was low key the first time I had seen somebody bring everybody out like that to the spot like that for a celebration of that sort. It's like for some hip hop shit. You know, normally be older people or whatever, but
I mean,
that day
we used to have in-stores. The in-stores used to be popping back in the day. You know?
Yeah.
But everybody used to come through there, but I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean.
It was just one of them moments to me because it was in the city. And did you really write that song Long Term 2 while you was walking to work on Anna Lee?
For sure.
That's a true story.
For sure.
I swear I always thought that was rap cap, bro. Like, I thought that was bullshit as far as, like, I swear to God, I wrote the song Anna Lee on my way to work. Like, I know the whole song, but I'm just saying I thought that was bullshit.
I was walking to work, dead ass. No
and
cap.
You was late.
No cap. For sure was late.
I remember, I'm going to tell you something else I never told you. I remember you were always, like, the weird guy in Carson walking around. Because you just be everybody, so you just be walking and you was comfortable. And I was always intimidated by that because I'm like, how he just, because we was two different weirdos. You was a weird one, but you was like a hip, like you was a hippie, like you smoked and you had your hoodie on and you was always dolo.
I was walking to and from work.
I know that, but I'm just saying I was on some skateboarder shit. So I was like,
right.
I was like an outcast in a different way. I was always a loner too, but I was an outcast in a different way. So when you dropped Long Term 2, I remember telling Chuck Dizzle that I don't think that I was ready for this. I meant like where I was at in the space, because I was so focused on being a DJ and wanting to turn up that I didn't take time to understand what you brought to the table.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. I just feel like I had to catch up to where you was at. Did you already know, like when you started rapping and coming and doing this type of shit? Did you already know that that's what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a poet. You know, I like to feel like I'm a poet, a writer. Wanted to, say some shit, say something crazy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it didn't necessarily have to be something that you felt or somebody else felt. Somebody was gonna feel it.
Right.
So it was for somebody. Somebody felt like me.
And I always thought that the brilliance of what you did when you did Long Term 2 was you took the time to explain every aspect of it. I know you was trying to sell it. You know what I'm saying? That's what if we going back to that time, you was trying to sell it. But I felt like a lot of artists just put their shit out and would just say, "My shit hot, go get it." Mm-hmm. But your shit always had more thought process to it and stuff like that. I always appreciated that.
No, for sure. Yeah. I just go back to being that type of artist. Like how do you want to be perceived? How do you want your stuff to be interpreted? You know?
When you put this project out, did you know it was going to have the impact that it had though in people's lives?
I mean, you could never know that, but I mean, I was confident. Yeah, I don't like.
You were confident in it to the point where it is now, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right, hold on.
Don't want to put nothing out into the world unless you're really confident in it, like a project, you know.
Yeah. Let me show you this other thing right here, because this is something that was special to me too.
Dream for this opportunity. You feel me? So that's crazy. You feel me? Like we to stay down and finally be able to come up here and sit up here with you and discuss these things is a dream come true. Man, it is definitely my pleasure though, brother. There's some cats I just had to sit down, man, and that's DJ Head, yes, sir, and also Chuck Dizzle. Homegrown Radio. Marching in the house. Hello. I'm talking about these cats have been marching the flag up the hill. And there's been times, man, when it was like, man, get that fucking flag off the hill. You know what I'm saying? They come back up. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Not going away. Like real walkie-talkie, man. And what just what we've built here together. And what you guys have been building with Homegrown. And when we say Homegrown Radio, man, we really mean Homegrown Radio. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's not there. This ain't pulling up and saying, man, this is the station. Yeah. This is pulling up saying, wait, okay, this where they do this at? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, they frying fish in it. Exactly.
To me, that was special on 3 different levels, right? Because you used to come to the house and do the interviews with me and Chuck. And then for you to actually speak on the fact that we all sitting there on Big Boy's neighborhood together. Then the other part where he brought up the food, which is one of your favorite parts of coming to Homegrown Radio. Tasha be cooking. And you gonna come get your plate.
Exactly.
You said what?
Get some Snickers. You know what I'm saying?
So the reason why I brought that up is because I remember when you came to do the interview for Long Term 2, it was actually, she was actually frying fish, bro, that night. And then he said that, I just thought it was synergy. I just thought it was a dope full circle synergy in it. No Pressure featuring J-Rock on the project. I feel like J-Rock is always slept on. Like people like J-Rock can rap, he can bar up. And I feel like people was giving J-Rock his credit more, so I feel like then he gets the accolades now, the awards and shit like that for the songs. But when it comes to the bars, on Av Soul Project, he came with bars because I felt like he knew he had to.
Oh man, J-Rock know how to rap, man, real talk.
Huh?
J-Rock is a real rapper. I think niggas know that, man. Niggas be knowing, man. Niggas be knowing. They just choose not to, you know. It just everybody just particular, you know what
I mean? He said he can rap. Hey, real quick, sidebar. How do you feel being you're like certain people's favorite rapper? Do you know that? Are you aware of that?
I mean, you know, I hear things.
but I'm saying, does that give you any kind of pressure, like, or anxiety or anything like that? like a level to live up to or anything like that?
I mean, in a sense, but you know, I'm ill, you know what I'm saying? So I don't dwell on things like that, you know what I mean?
You well aware of your skill set.
Yeah, real talk.
I fuck with that. Where would you rank?
Talking 10 years ago.
Where would you rank Long Term 2 in your projects? Where would it rank for you?
I don't be liking the favorites game anyway, man. You always get it wrong when you play the favorites game. But no, that was pretty important. That one was pretty important though. I feel like that was like, you know, I think that was like I maybe could say that was my first project I put together, like where I had a real concept I wanted to bring to life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And you already had the vision going into it, obviously.
Right, yeah. So,
is there anything that you would have done differently on the project? Going, like having time to think and reflect or thinking back on it, nothing different?
Nah. Can't live like that.
Living Life with rapper Big Pooh on it. It's the last one I wanted to talk to you about. Rapper Big Pooh, I feel like been fucking with TDE for the long way, like for the long haul, bro. And you're somebody who is, I feel like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like you're somebody who everybody respects lyrically. I don't think there's nobody that doesn't respect you lyrically. Like in hip hop fans, there could be some. I'm Soulja Boy probably respect your bars, low key. Like you know what I'm saying? Somebody like that would have to like give Soul be rapping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I hope so, man. I hope so. That'd be excellent.
Huh?
That would be excellent.
With the song with rapper Big Pooh, were you a Little Brother fan?
Yeah. Big time.
Big time Little Brother fan.
Big time Little Brother fan. That's why it was tight that he came through early and rocked with us like that. That was tight. Shout out to Knife, Fonte.
I want you to, now, don't give me the one word answer. I really want you to break this down for me, all right? This is the last thing I want to talk to you about. Because this, to me, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is something that me and the homies will watch over and over again because we felt the same way.
Dog, they really let us in the rap game, dog. I can't believe this shit.
How I feel is Long Term 2 was they officially let you in the rap game. That video, though, is you expressing verbally, they really let us in the rap game. It's like, emotionally, do you remember how you felt at that moment?
I think that's when I heard, like, I want to say that's when Jay-Z hopped on one of his songs.
Oh yeah, on the Bitch Don't Get My Vibe remix.
Yeah. When I heard that for the first time.
But I'm saying, is that the first time you felt that way? Like we really a part of the music industry, like.
Yeah, of course.
Or have you felt that way before? Did you ever feel that way before that?
Of course, but I mean, you know, the J verse was everything that particular time. That was like, wow. That was like a lot of, you know what I mean? I was just very happy to be there.
Be a part of that.
Yeah, real talk.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to cover a few things about this project. I feel like we addressed some stuff. Is there anything that stands out to you, either through conversation, through being at shows, anything like that stands out to you as far as like a memory, like a pivotal moment or a memory outside of you finally getting posted on the blogs?
I mean, nothing in particular, you know. What you mean, like, what? You mean as of late? That's what you're asking me? As of late?
No, yeah. Lately or before?
Yeah, no, nothing in particular. Yeah, it's been fun, for sure.
It's been fun. How have you been staying busy during quarantine?
Man, just watching nice little, you know, movies and, you know, series jumping off on Netflix and all that shit, man. Amazon Prime.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna ask you about no release dates, no new music, none of that shit, because I already know. So,
yeah, soon though, man.
Soon?
The quarantine thing set us back a second. You know. Soon.
Soon. When you say soon,
just take soon.
Okay. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you, bro. I just want to let you know that this shit is a classic. You know what I'm saying? I think that I just want to give the homies their flowers while everybody's still, you know, still rapping and kicking.
No, for sure, bro. You already know. Good looking out.
Flush.
Flush.